Hello again, YouTube. I'm Zaid. This is the Bookshelf, and this is episode 2 of Bare Bones Reviews. Once again, we're looking at the second Reaper Bones Kickstarter. This time, the second add-on I was going to cover, Oh Rats. Now, let's get the negative out of the way. Despite the title and the changes in the programming, so to speak, this add-on was altered before it was finalized. Rats only account for one half of this add-on. Now, what's Oh Rats? Oh Rats is primarily a fantasy-based appearance for a Ratmen army. Getting the negative out of the way, however, we have some exceptions. They're Ratmen and Ratmen-related friends. The first one we have up for line is my least favorite, and you may or may not agree with that. It is a dwarf or gnome in overalls with a pointed cap, and he's carrying a long pickaxe. May kind of look like a cane to you, depending on how you paint it. Nothing wrong with the miniature. He's got nice details. He looks a little Disney-esque, menacing weapon notwithstanding. Although I guess all the dwarves did have pickaxes at some point, so maybe that's still in character. And he has a beard and a round belly. Does he fit in with the set? Not really in my opinion, but if you like him, you like him. Next up, this one is a bit... how do I put this? You can probably tell from the angle, with all the shadowing, that it is not a rat. The shape of the skull makes him look kind of like a meerkat, maybe a gopher. It doesn't have the pronounced snout. Standing upright on two hind legs, have a tail, wearing a cloak. Not really much else is visible. The chest is bare. We have dangling mammaries, about 4 of them. An interesting choice. It's definitely not human morality on this other rodent. Probably a sorcerer. Maybe you could get away with using him as an alchemist or some type of crazed civilian. And finally, we have my favorite of the non-rat models. Some people call this a gopher centaur. Based on the skull shape, I think it is closer to a gopher than a rat. And the part that makes it centaur-y, well, here you go. You have an upper body, muscles, round belly, bit of man boobs there, although gender is probably indeterminate. And as you can see, a big bottom belly. I'm not sure if that counts as 2 bellies or not. And 4 legs. The gopher centaur could be considered a sentient, or it could be considered a beast of burden. On its back, you see a lot of bedrolls, sacks, maybe a dram of wine or barrel of beer. I think that's a broomstick held in the left hand. Good for a trader or a beast of burden, if you want to look at it that way. Maybe a slave species. Whatever you want to use them for in your D&D games, you're definitely going to have an opportunity. Now, let's get into the actual namesakes, and that is rats. This set has 3 humanesque rat models. Some people call them rat men. Some people who play other games will call them Skaven or Veer-myn. That would be Warhammer Fantasy Battles and Mantic's Dead Zone / Warpath / Dreadball for Veer-myn anyway. Now, these guys are wearing backpacks. I have ammo and weapon pouches, a few other random gear. 2 of them have long knives, maybe kind of shortish, depending on your interpretation. Very primitive looking. This one has a cloak, and the big detail on him is that I noticed was the way he has this bit of material from the base to the base of its skull. A little bit of cutting and trimming will remove that, no problem. Yours may have the same issue. And the last one has a sword and a pickaxe, or a hand axe, depending on how you interpret that. One of these guys is draped in cloaks, the other two are wearing fairly civilian garb. So, depending on how you paint them, you can get away with them, a variety of interpretations with them. And last but not least, we have the big guy, who I am not going to move because he is perfect in frame as he is. He is the Rat Giant. Giant Rat, Rat Giant, Rat Golem, Rat Ogre, whatever you want to call him as. He's at least 3 times as big as all the others, and pretty ugly and menacing. His arms come in multiple pieces, so don't expect him to be the most convertible model without doing extensive work. What can I say about this set? The main thing to say is that the rat men are very much along the lines of night runners. You've got 3 of them, depending on how much the set will come when they're released. If they're released in bulk, you can quickly make up a cheap alternative to GW's Warhammer range there. The big guy is just about the scale for a Rat Ogre, also in fantasy. I don't think they're quite big enough to make it as a Storm Fiend, but if you're willing to put in the time and effort to convert them and add all the bits, there you go. For Mantic players, those of you who want to convert these guys into sci-fi, you can probably get away with using the regular Ratmen as civilians, swap out the weapons, add tools, maybe even just remove them all and have Veer-myn-esque fans in the Dreadball arena, or maybe even for a Dreadball Extreme. No reason for them not to be included in that fun. Now, not part of the original set, sorry, not part of the Oh Rats play, but part of the Bones 2 original set, are these 2 additional models. Brand new, also have no name, recent releases. These are giant rats. They're a bit larger than the Ratmen, and nowhere near as anthropomorphized. If you can get these added into the pledge, if you can get these added into your purchasing, you can pretty much replace an entire Rat Ogre and Giant Rat set from GW's market. So that's pretty much Oh Rats and a little bit extra. Half of it is what it promises to be, not quite in keeping with the theme. If you're looking for alternatives, cheap ones to fill out a Skaven army, very easy. If you're looking to add these guys to Warpath, you have quite a bit of conversion ahead of you, especially when it comes to the giant rat in the back. You're going to need quite a few pieces if you want to convert them into a Shredder/Ravager. But if you've got the spare drills or you have the chem thrower, I'd say go for it. Okay then, that's everything I can possibly say about these guys. I'm Zaid. Thanks for watching, and like always, happy wargaming.